evening, everyone, and welcome. I'll call this committee of the whole meeting to order at 6 p.m. in council chambers. And I do not believe we have any remote electronic attendance, correct?
That's correct.
So, we start with our oaths of office. An oath of office for promotional appointment of Aaron Burns to the rank of lieutenant effective June 4th, and an oath of office for promotional appointment of Salvador Victor to the rank of sergeant effective June 4th. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Council. Certainly, times like this are some of the most rewarding for a police chief to be in front of you to promote the next set of leaders for the police department. Tonight, I'm really excited to present Lieutenant Aaron Burns and Sergeant Salvador Victor for promotion to excellent officers for the Moline Police Department. If you've ever had any interaction with them, extremely caring and kind officers that take the time to help our citizens, or you as elected officials as well. They just do a great job. So it's an exciting night tonight, and you can see by a lot of police officers here, they have the respect of many of their colleagues at the police department. First, I'd like to invite Aaron Burns to come forward. Aaron Burns was hired in 2005. The Moline Police Department worked as a patrol officer and a field training officer until 2012. From 2012 to 2015, he was assigned to adult CID as a detective, and then he was promoted to sergeant in 2015, and he has worked patrol as a sergeant all three shifts, primarily on the afternoon shift. He's a little sad because right now he's on day shift as a sergeant, so that's a pretty great position to be in, and so he'll go to the night shift as a lieutenant. He additionally, from 2008 to 2012, was a field training officer, was kind of our entry to molding the next officer in the leadership positions by being able to train the new officers as they come through, an extremely important position. Has been the supervisor of the boat unit. As you know, the boat is a dual-purpose police and fire boat, mostly a police boat, called Moline 11. And Aaron Burns has been instrumental in that. A small fact, he was a boat captain prior to his employment at the Moline Police Department. 2014 to 2021, he served as a member of the Moline Honor Guard. He's a lifelong resident of Moline. He was born in Moline and graduated from Moline High School and earned an associate's degree from Blackhawk College. He's married to his wife, Amy, who is here. He has two daughters, Paige and Brooklyn. Brooklyn is here, 8 years old, and they currently live in Moline. So, Mayor, I'd offer Aaron Burns for you to come forward and give the oath of office.
Having been duly appointed to the rank of lieutenant.
Having been duly appointed to the rank of lieutenant.
Of the police department for the city of Moline, Illinois.
Of the police department for the city of Moline, Illinois.
Do solemnly swear.
Do solemnly swear.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
And the state of Illinois.
And the state of Illinois.
Will strictly adhere to the compiled statutes of the state of Illinois.
Will strictly adhere to the compiled statutes of the state of Illinois.
The Moline Code of Ordinances.
The Moline Code of Ordinances.
And any Illinois rules of professional conduct.
And any Illinois rules of professional conduct.
Applicable to police administration.
Applicable to police administration.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
And that I will faithfully discharge the duties.
Of the rank of lieutenant.
Of the rank of lieutenant.
Of the police department for the city of Moline, Illinois.
Of the police department for the city of Moline, Illinois.
According to the best of my ability.
According to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you, I appreciate it.
So the rank of lieutenant is signified by a single gold bar. I'll pin the bar onto the jeep.
All right, thank you, appreciate you.
And I'd call his wife and daughter forward, and they will pin the badge. Let me get out of the way. This is better here in the picture, not me.
Okay.
You family members want to go forward and
Congratulations.
portion your duty?
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Photos?
Yes.
The mayor had asked Salvador Victor to come forward for promotion to sergeant. So if any of you went to the Cop on a Rooftop, you'll know that Sal Victor not only is a very photogenic young man, he is also very popular. He was the 2022 Officer of the Year for the Optimist Club. And I think everyone that went through the line wanted to receive their stuff from Sal Victor. So it backed it up even further, I think. But Sal Victor went to high school in Itasca, graduated from Western Illinois University with a degree in law enforcement and justice administration. Sergeant Victor began his service with the department in 2014 and has held various roles, including patrol officer, field training officer, crisis containment unit operator, sniper, community-oriented police officer in the Floreciente neighborhood, Wilson Middle School liaison, and crime prevention unit detective. Salvador Victor is also fluent in Spanish and he joins the command staff, bringing our staffing to 21% of minority members of our command staff. He's also a member of the Illinois Army National Guard. Sal Victor's exceptional work in the line of duty has been recognized on numerous occasions. As I mentioned, in 2022, he was honored as the Officer of the Year for his outstanding community service and bravery when responding to a person running through a neighborhood firing a gun. Sergeant Victor was able to de-escalate the situation and make a peaceful arrest, demonstrating his courage and commitment to public safety. Sergeant Victor is supported by his wife, Kara, daughter, Sophia, and family. He is known among his peers for his professionalism, dedication, and leadership in the department, and his unwavering commitment to serving the community and his colleagues' safety make him an invaluable asset to the Moline Police Department. So, Mayor, if you would, come forward to administer the oath of office.
Please raise your right hand and repeat it. I, Salvador Victor,
I, Salvador Victor,
having been duly promoted to the rank of sergeant
having been duly promoted to the rank of sergeant
of the police department for the city of Moline, Illinois,
of the police department for the city of Moline, Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the constitutions of the United States
that I will support the constitutions of the United States
and the state of Illinois,
and the state of Illinois,
will strictly adhere to the compiled statutes of the state of Illinois,
will strictly adhere to the compiled statutes of the state of Illinois,
the Moline Code of Ordinances,
the Moline Code of Ordinances,
and any Illinois rules of professional conduct
and any Illinois rules of professional conduct
applicable to police administration,
applicable to police administration,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the rank of sergeant of the police department
of the rank of sergeant of the Moline Police Department
for the city of Moline, Illinois,
for the city of Moline, Illinois,
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations. Sign both, you keep one, you keep the other. So much.
Well, the rank of sergeant is recognized by 3 chevrons. So I'll pin his rank onto his collar. And I would ask his wife, Kara, to come forward to pin on his back.
one change this evening. Item 3, oath of office for Kimberly Banning will be pulled due to illness. Number 4, we move to board appointments. Mayor's appointment of J. Brent Anderson to the project management team for a full 4-year term and to expire May 31st, 2027. And the mayor's appointment of Amanda Augsburger to the Public Art Commission to fill the unexpired term of Brandon Nees to expire September 30th, 2023. Any questions? Hearing none, we move to our presentations. Ms. Whitley, are you close by? Okay. We have a Neighborhood Partnership Committee June 2023 Neighbor of the Month Awards for the Boardroom, Quad City owners Chris Ontiveros as a commercial award, and Mike and Sharon Scott, residential
Okay, can we do the commercial one first,
award.
ma'am?
Sure.
It's up on the screen. Come on up, Chris.
Will you come down?
Come with me. This is my wife Pamela. She was a big part of this.
Great. Oh, that's okay. Are you saying anything?
Oh, I was just gonna take the picture. And then I was gonna offer a chance for Kristen to speak if you'd like.
Yeah, well, in lieu of your speech, you can all see the pictures up here. If you've ever been in the boardroom, it's a gorgeous space. Thank you so much for adding it to Moline as an option for our residents and others. So this is theirs.
Okay, I'll take this one.
Yeah.
If you guys can step back there and.
Step back here, you wanna come on up? Everybody wanna hold it? Yeah, there you go.
All right, thank you.
Congratulations.
We opened the boardroom in 2021, I think, or 2, I'm not sure. 21. It's a rental for your family celebrations, birthday parties, graduation parties, special events, and it's very intimate. We've a lot of parking. It's hidden. You have to know somebody to use it. Now you do. Now you know me. So, feel free to reach out and rent it at any time you like.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, where are Mike and Sharon Scott? Are they here? Oh, great, wonderful. Thank you so much for the work you've done to beautify our community.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Where would you like?
Can you take a couple steps back? Sorry. Thank you guys. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. All right, our next presentation.
You're okay.
Riverbend Food Bank Subrecipient Award of $300,000, Ms. Whitley. Can someone please help Ms. Whitley move that forward?
I have a few
Thank
issues
you.
tonight.
Need wheels on it.
Thank you, thank you. All right. So back in 2020, as the entitlement, CDBG entitlement community, we received over $700,000 in CARES Act money to prevent, prepare for, and respond to COVID. So we designed a lot of programs, our COVID rental assistance, our business loans. We bought laptops for seniors and for Head Start students. We paid for broadband. We did business loans, and then we had a food supplement program. So we did 5 rounds where we handed out vouchers to the underserved in our community. With that, we probably helped over about 1,800 people between all those rounds. So now we have some dollars left. Many people were addressing the broadband already. As you know, food prices escalated. So food is the #1 thing that we get calls for, more than rent right now, because there's so many rental assistance programs out there. And with the rental for COVID, you had to be able to tie it back to COVID. You couldn't just walk in and say, hey, I need rental assistance. How did COVID affect you needing rental assistance? And if you couldn't tie it back, then we couldn't assist you. So what we would like to do today is partner with Riverbend Food Bank, provide them with $300,000 of that $700,000, give them 3 years to utilize those funds for period of performance, that's what the POP stands for, and make them one of our subrecipients. So I'm going to introduce Nancy, who's their executive director and their CEO, and they're going to tell you how they would like to utilize that money in the next 3 years in the city of Moline. Nancy?
First of all, thank you. I'm just going to do a really brief update on what's happening in our world right now and why this is such, we're so grateful for this donation. And then I'm going to have one of my teammates come up and share with you how we plan to use this funding to help hungry people in the city of Moline. We, like a lot of nonprofits, thought, oh, the pandemic is sort of winding down, and I think, naively thought we'll go back to our pre-pandemic levels of distribution, and that didn't happen. We were really just starting to see decreases in numbers when inflation hit, and people started really struggling, people that had never before struggled because of the high cost of food. In addition, in food banking, we rely heavily on food rescue. So we have a partnership with all the major stores in the 23 counties that we serve, the largest being the Walmart Distribution Center in Sterling. Sometimes we would send the semi down twice in one day, and it would come back with beautiful food for hungry people. Since April, just about a year ago, those donations from all of our large food donors have decreased somewhere between 20 and 40%. So you have the pandemic, you have the inflation, a reduction in food, and then most recently in the state of Illinois, SNAP benefits were reduced back to pre-pandemic levels as of April 1. One of the ways we're going to spend this money, we're going to use this money, is at our South Park Mall. Most of you know we have a pantry at South Park Mall. 3 weeks ago tonight, in the first hour and 15 minutes, we served 181 families. It's unbelievable, and we really believe that is not just inflation, but the SNAP benefits that have been reduced. So on behalf of our board, on behalf of our team, thank you. Thank you to you for thinking of this. We've gone back and forth for, I don't know, a couple of weeks just trying to get this figured out. And so I'm going to let Jana come up and share with you how we plan to use this funding. Jana is our program and volunteer coordinator. So I'm going to let Jana share it with you.
Good evening, everybody. Like she said, my name is Jana Fleming. I am the Programs and Volunteer Coordinator at Riverbend Food Bank, and this is how we plan on spending the $300,000. So to give you a little background about who we are and where we serve, we have coverage of 23 counties between eastern Iowa and western Illinois. Our main warehouse is over on Kimmel Drive in Davenport, and we have a branch up in Dubuque, and we recently opened one down in Galesburg as well. We have a population of over 1 million people, and it covers approximately 13,900 square miles. We partner with over 400 relief agencies, and we have over 1,500 volunteers. We are very grateful for all of our volunteers. And like I said, we have 2 branches and our 1 main warehouse. Our programs that we have are backpack programs that support children during the school year to have food on the weekends. We have our mobile food pantries that go out on a monthly basis to food deserts in rural areas throughout our counties. Every fall, we host our student hunger drive. We have school and senior pantries that function throughout the school year and even over the summer for senior pantries as well. Our SNAP and outreach empowerment programs are helping our guests understand their benefits and know what they're able to access if they need it. And we have community hunger drives throughout the year that different businesses and companies raise funds for that really help us during our summer months. So we're focusing tonight on the South Park Mall Food Pantry. We are open on Tuesday afternoons and Thursday mornings. Like Nancy said 3 weeks ago on our Tuesday shift, we served an insane amount of people, and it's definitely needed more now than ever, the food for our guests to receive. In 2022, South Park Mall Food distributed 749,750 meals, and 98% of the product that was distributed was donated by retailers and manufacturers such as Hy-Vee, Walmart, and General Mills. And with getting the 300,000, we're going to allocate 200,000 of it to our South Park Mall pantry, so our guests can receive healthier foods like produce, meat, milk, and eggs on a regular basis. We also have 9 partner agencies in Moline. These are churches throughout the city of Moline that are partners with us and distribute food on anywhere from a weekly to monthly basis, and that is where the other $100,000 will go. So our plan of action is to use the $200,000 in food purchasing for South Park Mall. This would allow us to consistently distribute an additional 190,500 pounds of nutrient-dense foods. Along with this budget, we are going to be able to provide more culturally appropriate items for our Hispanic and Muslim populations. And the other $100,000 is going to the 9 partner agencies in Moline. And this will allow their food budgets to be supplemented so that they can make improvements on their pantries in other areas that are needed, and they won't have to worry about their food budget. This will allow for consistent ordering of nutritious foods for guests, and all of the $300,000 will be used solely to purchase food. Once again, Riverbend is very thankful for the $300,000, and we are very gracious and just thankful. Thank you
so much. What's the plan, Ms. Whitley?
We're going to have the check presentation now.
Okay, do you need me to come down?
Yes.
Okay.
And are there any other council that would like to be in the picture? Come on down.
Sure.
Don't freeze.
Stand it.
Come on.
Standards would stay.
Yeah. I'll get behind.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Come on in.
Come on.
We're the only ones to do it. I've had my picture taken 3 times.
You guys remember the position? Oh, yeah.
Can you see all the faces there, Ashley?
Yes. Oh, actually,
There we go.
All right. 1, 2, 3. We'll do a few. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Council.
Great job, KJ. Great job.
Okay, our next presentation is the 2022 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report. Baker Tilly, do we have our online guest? All right.
Yes, good evening, I'm
Ms.
here.
Barnes, did you want to come up and say anything first?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor and Council. We are very pleased tonight to have Jason Coyle with us. He is a partner with Baker Tilly, and he will be presenting the results of our 2022 audit, as well as our comprehensive financial report.
Thank you. Take it away, Jason.
All right, good evening. It's good to be with you. As was mentioned, I'm a partner with Baker Tilly. Unfortunately, I wasn't actually the partner on your audit. Mike Moline, the partner on your audit, couldn't be with us tonight because he had a death in the family unexpectedly, so he got called away. But I'm happy to go over the financial results for your 2020 year end. It was mentioned you issue an annual comprehensive financial report, and as that name includes, the financial statements are more comprehensive than you're actually required to include within your financial statements. So I always like to congratulate communities that do that. You've been doing that for more than 30 years. So there's additional information both at the beginning and at the end of your financial statements than is required. So you're providing a higher level of transparency to the user of the financial statements. So congratulations on that. After the introductory section in your financial statements, on page 1 is our opinion from Baker Tilly. It's a 3-page opinion. It's an unmodified or what we call unqualified opinion. What that opinion means is that somebody could pick up your financial statements and rely on that information as they evaluate the financial health of the city. So it's the highest level of assurance we can give over your financial information and the same level of assurance that we have given in previous years. There is one note in your opinion that references a new standard that was implemented during the year. Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement 87 related to leases was properly implemented during the year, and I'll touch on that in just a minute. After the opinion, on page 4, is a section called the Management's Discussion and Analysis, or MD&A for short. And I always encourage governing bodies to at least take a look at that section of the financial statements. I know you have 200 plus pages of financial statements, and not everybody wants to look at all of that, but I do encourage governing body members to at least read through the 10 or so pages in the MD&A, as it does a great job of summarizing what went on during the year and compares it to the prior year. In particular in there, you'll see some easy to read pie charts of where your revenue is coming from. For example, only 18% of your revenue is in the form of property taxes. And there's another pie chart that shows where is your money going. And almost half, 49% of your expenditures are for public safety, as would be expected. So again, take some time to look through that. As we get into the meat of the financial statements after the MD&A, I'm not going to go through a lot of detailed financial information. I'm just going to mention 2 pieces of information. One, as I mentioned, you implemented Governmental Accounting Standards Board 87 related to leases. So this is the first time this standard has impacted your financial statements. And for you, what it means is you now see a large leases receivable on your financial statements with an offsetting deferred inflows related to leases. So this is the case where the city has some longer term leases where you're leasing out parking lots or land or building, and you're being paid rent by those organizations. So under this standard, we need to look at the life of those leases and account for those as a receivable. So if you were to compare your financial statements to last year, you would see that that's an addition this year. The other thing I always like to mention is leases. Is pensions. In Illinois, pensions are always kind of a hot topic. And so you're in 3 pension plans. You're in IMRF, which is for most of your municipal employees. And you're also in the police pension fund and the fire pension fund. So you have 3 total. Your IMRF is, you actually have what we call a net pension asset. That means the cash or the assets and investments that IMRF holds on your behalf actually exceeds the liability that you have for your pension. So that's a great place to be in. You continue to contribute as appropriate to IMRF, but you're in a good financial position there. Your police and fire pension funds are funded at 69% right now. That's largely due to the market in 2022, which we saw a lot of losses, obviously, in the market. And so your funding percentage went down in 2022 because of that. But as with everything, that should come back up over time, and we'll see your funding come back up over time as well. And those were the only 2 points from your financial statements I was going to specifically mention. We do, during the course of the audit, evaluate your internal controls or your checks and balances. We don't do that to provide an opinion on your internal controls, and we don't actually provide an opinion on your internal controls. Why we look at your controls is to help us plan out our audit and see if there's any risks that we need to address in our audit procedures. The byproduct of that is, though, if we have recommendations for improvements in internal controls, we're going to communicate those to you. And I'm happy to say that we didn't have anything that rose to the level that needed to be formally communicated. And so congratulations on that. Also, as part of the audit, we do what we call TIF audits. Under the state statutes, we're required to do some compliance testing over the expenditures out of your TIF funds to make sure that they're in compliance with the TIF laws and how they're supposed to be spent. Again, happy to report we had no findings related to that. Lastly, we also conducted what's known as a single audit, which is anytime you expend more than $750,000 in federal funds, an organization is required to have what we call a single audit. So we audit the compliance attributes of your federal funds. In particular, we audited the CDBG and the ARPA funding this year, looked at the fact, how did you spend that money? Was it in compliance with federal standards? And a lot of different compliance attributes. Happy to say we had no findings related to that, so congratulations on that. That takes quite a bit of work to make sure that you're spending the money in accordance with all the federal regulations. The last thing that I'll note for you is that coming up next year, similar to GASB 87 on leases being implemented this year, next year there's a new one, Governmental Accounting Standards Board Statement 96, related to subscription-based IT agreements that is going to impact your financial statements. We'll work with management over the year to make sure that we're gathering all the information we need for that. But I would like to kind of give you a little heads up of some of the new standards that will be impacting your financial statements in future years. That's really the end of my prepared remarks, but I'm happy to answer any particular questions that you might have.
Any questions from council? We're certainly very pleased with the work of our staff that's continuing to produce results that are clearly interpreted by you and clearly in compliance. So thank you to our staff for that. If there's no further questions, we thank you for joining us this evening.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate the time.
Mm-hmm. All right, so we move now to item number 6, our public hearing. I will open this now at 6:33 in council chambers. Is there anyone who wishes to speak for the tax increment redevelopment plan and project for the Eastgate TIF? Hearing none, I can, and then I ask for the other side, right? Is there anyone wishing to give public comment against the tax increment redevelopment plan and project for the Eastgate TIF? What? Okay, we'll need to swear you in for this public comment. Okay, that's just procedure. It's a simple raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the solemnly swear to tell the testimony?
Further about that, or is it just update? I don't know.
Will there be an explanation on this tonight? Yes, there can be explanation, but not in a public hearing, yes.
Sure.
Yes. Legal counsel, yes, there can be explanation by the administrator.
Yes.
So just for clarity on our procedure, we're in the public comment portion. I can suspend the public comment portion for explanation for a moment, correct? And then open it up back up.
Public hearing.
That's what I meant.
Yeah.
But I can open it up
Yes.
for comment late after his explanation. Okay, we will proceed with that.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Very, very briefly, we at the city have a history of doing tax increment financing districts, 13 in total over the last 35 years.
Speak up a little bit, please.
You can't hear me? Usually my voice is pretty strong. I was saying, over the past 35 years, the city of Moline has had a long history, successful history of actually creating and administering tax increment finance districts, predominantly in the downtown of Moline, as well as outside of the downtown. There are 13 such TIFs. 2 of them have since retired, and we still have 11 remaining TIFs on the books today. Those TIFs are usually used to try and deal with issues related to the blighted areas, and that's why TIF was created in the first place, was to try and take property that was blighted, bring it back through economic development tools that we have available, and then return that property at the end of the TIF to the tax roll. And we've been doing that for a long time. The entire downtown, as you look at it from, from the Heritage Building, which was the first project, all the way to the slough or to the river's edge, that entire area was developed with TIF as the principal tool. The TIF tonight actually is the first time that the city's looked at a TIF district east of the Illinois 74, Interstate 74 highway. Up until that point, all the effort was really, with the exception of perhaps Western Illinois University, that particular area has not been largely looked at. So we were approached by Par Instruments with respect to their plans to redevelop their property and to expand their business. They were founded in Moline. They've been here their entire history as a corporation, which I believe is 100 years, maybe a little longer than 100 years. And we want to retain that business. So one of our strategic goals is not to only attract new businesses, but more importantly, to retain the businesses that we have and the employment that goes with those businesses, because I'm not mistaken, they have nearly 100 employees as well. So they are a major employer in our community, and they've been a good corporate citizen all these years. They've never come to the table or asked for anything in the history of the company. We have, for years, talked to them about issues related to the stormwater management problems related to about a 492 acre, just call it 500 acre watershed that starts at the top of the bluff and then goes back down the hill toward the river. And there's been a repeated flooding that's occurred, causing disruption to the business, making it impossible for them to conduct business. So they were faced with a major decision, stay where they're at, or leave. It's really that simple. Stay where you're at and build a brand new building, redevelop your old building, and reinvest in that part of the city, or look for alternative locations, either here in Illinois or in Iowa for that matter. They have elected to stay in Illinois. They have elected to stay in Moline. One of those conditions or caveats was that we would create a TIF district that would assist them in abating the investment that they have to make, which is significant. And at the same time, it gives the city the ability to use proceeds from a TIF and the growth, the incremental growth in values within the TIF to pay for the public improvements, both through the incremental dollars that come in on top of whatever the base value is at the time the TIF is created. As you know, all property taxes tend to go up. So as those investments happen, the value goes up, and that difference in EAV, or equalized assessed value, creates an increment. That increment, in turn, is then reinvested into the district itself and into the business itself, or businesses that have an interest in doing something similar, either growing or expanding or even starting up within the corporate or within the limits of the TIF. So we had about a $3.5 million stormwater management project that we're trying to launch over there in that area. We're looking at dividing this watershed into two complete parts, so that the flows flow differently, and yet still delivering that water to the Mississippi River where ultimately it goes without causing any flooding as it does that. So we're also looking at federal funding for that purpose as well. We've reached out to our federal legislators looking for those types of appropriations or grant dollars. So we've been at this for probably, and Utility Director Lodi probably knows much how long he's been involved in it, but it's been over 5 years. And we've spent a significant amount of investment in engineering studies to come up with a solution. And we're at that point now. We're at that juncture where Par Instruments wants to grow. They want to remain here. They want to grow their business. They want to add additional employees. They want to partner with the high school because of the technology that they're using. So it is a win-win-win situation, not only for the city, but also for them, and for those around them, because when they start to invest there, others will invest around them. So that's kind of a real quick synopsis.
I would also ask Director Barnes if you might just give the shortest explanation of what a TIF is, because I have a feeling some residents might see the word tax and wonder what it means to them. Oh. And if we could clear up how a TIF works, that would be great. Please come to the podium.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. I will just kind of
tip it up.
Let's make sure it's working.
There we go.
Thank you. Can everyone hear me? Yeah, I will just, kind of piggyback on to what Bob
They
had
can't hear in the
said.
back. Is that as loud as it goes?
I will just piggyback
There
on
you
to
go.
what Bob says. It is a tax increment financing district, and it is where you take your base value of existing property values as they are today, and you take advantage of the increment that may occur over the next 25 years or the length of the TIF for potential redevelopment. So it is not additional taxes to our taxing citizens.
Thank you so much. Any further explanation from directors? No? Then I'll close out that portion, reopen the public comment. If there is anyone that wants to speak for, please come to the podium. Yes, please, Mr. Mills. I have to swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you so much. Please continue.
Hi, I'm Jim Nelson. I'm the CEO at Bar Instrument Company. Mr. Vitas did a very good job of explaining the sequence of events that it's taken place. And I think Par's had substantial flood damage 3 times since I've been there, and I've been there for 15 years, to the point where we've had to shut down operations. And really becomes a safety hazard for our employees. You walk into a manufacturing facility that has lots of power to machines, and you've got water that's a foot high throughout the facility. It's very devastating. PAR has been a member of this community for, I think next year will be 125 years. And long history. We're an excellent employer. We've never had a layoff in our history. Our ownership is really also divided up amongst a lot of individuals. A lot of those people are current employees, former employees. So we give back to this community in lots of different ways. Our benefits are excellent. We take good care of our people. And we have been a good corporate citizen over the years and donate a lot of money into this community, both with our dollars and our time. A few fellow Moline Rotary members here in this room. The real challenge with our business has become we've grown to the point where we probably put this off for too long, and we don't have any room left to expand our existing facility. A few years ago, we purchased what some of you may remember as the old Moline bodybuilding just west of our property, and that's our intention is to be able to tear down that building that is in very bad condition and put a brand new manufacturing facility right next door, which will more than double our size what we stand today, and then renovate our existing building to more administrative space because we don't have room to put any new employees if we wanted to hire them right now. So there's a big need. Anytime you look at a project like this, you have to take into consideration the risks to the business of doing it where we're at, and there was a big risk with this flood issue to the point where I don't think we can proceed in the existing space without something done for flood control. It's just too much of a risk to both our employees and our shareholders. Trying to think what I might be leaving out, information that anybody might want to know, but our customers really aren't here in Quad Cities. I mean, we maybe have a random customer here or there, but we export all over the world. More than half our business is exported. I think we're a very unique employer from that standpoint. So there isn't a big tie for us to stay where we're at Quad Cities. Bob mentioned we owe it to our investors to look at what's the most fiscally sound place to expand, and we'd like to continue to have Moline as our home, and we hope that we can work through this to make that happen. So,
Thank you very much. Anyone else to speak for? All right.
Yep.
Yes, Ms. Elias, I need to swear you in. Please raise your right hand. I do solemnly swear that the testimony you give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Okay, good afternoon, Mayor Raya Putty, members of the council, Mr. Vitas. Alexandra Elias, representing Renew Moline, who has been your redevelopment partner in redevelopment for the last 34 years. And I just wanted to express to you, I've had about a 30-year career in and around government, mostly in California, but the last 5 years have been here. And I wanted to just tell you that TIF is a generally accepted tool nationwide. Many, many communities use it. And I can tell you, being in the Renew Moline chair for the last 5 years, it is absolutely a necessary tool. It allows you to focus investment to the benefit of the community generally that the TIF is established in. It allows you to do physical improvements that may not be available otherwise, just from funding reasons. And so I wanted to, one, express my support, tell you confidently that this is a tool that's used nationwide successfully in many, many areas, and it has been the basis of 34 years of successful, over $400 million of investment in your community. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Yes, sir, please come to the podium, and I will swear you in. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you may give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, but I had a little problem hearing. Power instrument? Okay, so power instrument. To generalize, I guess, to make sure I understand what's going on, is basically their tax savings is from their appraisal right now to their new appraisal when they're done. They will save that money over the next 20, 25 years through relieved taxation by the city of Moline, right?
Not really, a portion.
A portion.
A portion.
Okay. Well, whatever they're entitled to, that's what they'll get. And also, as far as the water problem down here, is there a reason I mean, 48th Street and 5th Avenue, is there a reason you stopped there?
Can we have
Are we
this
allowed to
exchange?
talk about that piece?
You can.
I mean,
It's
I don't have an issue.
really for remarks.
For, yeah,
from
the remarks are for
public.
whether you support the idea or whether you
Oh, I
you
understand
don't.
that,
Yeah.
but that, weighs my judgment too.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a big water problem down below the hills, all the way across.
And that's what.
Not just ending there. Okay. So you can't answer is what you're saying, right?
Correct, it's
Right.
not a back and forth, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm available to answer those questions offline.
Okay.
No
Top
problem.
secret.
No, it's just.
Not a secret.
No, it's a matter of procedure, that's all.
It's just
Yeah.
procedure.
Thank you. So is there anyone that wishes to speak against the tax increment redevelopment plan and project for the Eastgate TIF? Okay. Hearing none, I will close this hearing at 6:49 in council chambers. And that concludes the public hearing, correct? Thank you so much. This will be up for a vote in the later part of the meeting, so, by council. Is there any other public comment this evening? Chief? He's got a list out there. We'll check that first, and then you certainly can come. Okay. If you would like to make public comment, you just have to come up and state your name, and you get 3 minutes. Chief, are you able to? David has the timer.
Yes.
No, because now we're in public comment, so.
So,
Which, just procedurally, so we're all on the same page, also doesn't have a back and forth. If there's anything we need to follow up with you on, we will follow up with you.
so I just leave a comment. So I think with what we just went through, a lot of us don't really do this ever, so it's a little confusing to be for or against something that you don't really know the full details of, like for all of us that are residents down there. Is anybody gonna be displaced? Like, these are comments that, is there properties that are gonna be bought up, forced out, or anybody gonna have to make any important decisions about their land, or residents with all of this. I mean, I am for fixing the water issue. It's massive. It's a huge problem, and it's definitely good to fix that for sure. And PAR, we're definitely fans. We work for you. I own a company down there, so you know, it's important to support all of our community, but we have so many questions as far as residentially down there.
Understood. So, let me say that it's not to be back and forth, but I completely understand why you have questions, and especially if you're not familiar with it. You all heard from Alex Elias that this is a common tool, and Moline has, this is TIF 14. We have many, many TIFs in Moline, but you probably haven't heard of people having to move because there's a TIF, right? Because it's a redevelopment tool.
Right.
So there's a lot more explanation, but I think at this time, the best thing to share with you, and there can be follow-up, please reach out to Pat O'Brien. He's the alderperson for that ward, and can certainly answer those questions.
Okay.
But the best thing I can say is that your fears will be calmed when you get all that information.
Yeah.
It's not about all those things. It's really about redevelopment of the area.
I definitely understand that.
Yeah.
And then putting in the new pumps, that's not going to displace anybody or anything like that, like any of that new construction of the watershed. Okay.
No.
Perfect. Thanks.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts. Okay, if there's no further public comment, there are questions on the agenda. We have one other, we already took care of that in the presentation. We had a different presenter than we were expecting. So we move to our informational, Mr. Vitas.
Sure, Madam.
July status and information report.
Sure. As is ordinary and customary now, for the past 2 years, we have a status and information report that is released to the mayor, to the council, posted on the city's website as well, so that the public is aware of all of the projects and programs that we are currently working on. So you will find throughout the document, across all of the departments, precisely what elements of the strategic plan are we working on, what programs or projects outside of that are we currently working on. It could include things like the road improvements or water and storm sewer improvements, sanitary sewer improvements. It could be software programs that we're looking at to try and streamline our operations. So there's a multitude of programs and projects in there. If there's questions, we are always available to answer those questions, and I'll leave it go at that.
So I know this is a first or second time around for, maybe first, because you all were sworn in, the new folks on the council, when we had the May report shared, that first meeting in May. So it's your first round with this. But now or afterward, you can certainly ask Mr. Vitas questions about it. I think I'll go first. I want to make note that I'm happy to see how active our public art and placemaking commission is, our public art commission is and has been. They're really trying to get a project moving. In fact, the council just took their official picture in front of a mural downtown, and someone noted that it'd be nice to continue to have those, and it's nice to read that they're really working on that and reaching out to different parts of the community to see how art can enhance and enliven the city. I did want to bring to note to the council that there were three tobacco licenses applied for in this last round, and I want to bring up the fact that I'm considering talking with our clerks and legal counsel about potentially having a limit to those licenses, like we do, like how we regulate liquor licenses as well, because we hear from the public about this shop and that shop always popping up. I think if it's a good topic for us to discuss, we can talk about it at a future meeting, but that's something that's going through my mind when I read that. Secondly, I want to, again, I apologize, legal counsel, but I have to say, I have asked for the 2 a.m. license discussion to come off of this report because I didn't want the public and business owners to get confused and concerned and about that, because we are not, let me be clear to the public, we are not considering moving to a 2 a.m. license from a 3 a.m. We have talked with those licensees. We are looking at 3 a.m. license requirements as opposed to just simply limiting the time. And some of our council members have had to spend time with these licensees who were very, very concerned about what they were seeing in terms of what the city is thinking. So I just want to put out
it's gotta get taken care of, because this is what I wanted to avoid.
I apologize for that mistake. I don't know why it keeps appearing, but it will never be again.
I don't think I've been that stern up here yet, so 2 years in, it's all right, but it's got, you see why I want to get it taken care of.
You are 100% right.
All right, so that's all I have. Does anyone else have anything on this June status and information report? No, but I thank you for making this a oh, sorry, Mr. Timmy.
This might be in here, or might have been rolled in. Are we on track with the 19th Street redevelopment this year, 19th Street?
Oh, and the CIP.
Correct.
The bike lanes and
The bike lanes on the east side.
That is all still progressing. Nothing is falling off the charts.
Okay.
The 19th Street.
Well, assume it's
the 19th
original.
Street corridor for multimodal purposes has 3 phases, and it's moving forward as it should.
No, I was concerned about the north that goes from the river to Mississippi to Scottish Rite. So I'll ask.
I have not heard that has stopped.
Thank you.
Just so you know.
All right, with that, we'll close out our committee of the whole and call a regular council meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, do we have an invocation, Mr. Macias?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, roll call, please.
Alderperson Murphy,
Present.
Macias,
Present.
Razak,
Present.
Timian,
Present.
Finch,
Present.
O'Brien,
Present.
Castro,
Present.
Schmidt.
Present.
All right, Your Honor, I request approval of Committee of the Whole and Council meeting minutes of May 16th, 2023, and appointments made during Committee of the Whole on June 6th, 2023. Resolutions.
Consent. Okay.
Council Bill number 15.1, a resolution accepting the annual comprehensive financial report prepared by Baker Tilly, Burchow Kraus LLP for the fiscal year of January 1, 2022 through December 31, 2022 for all municipal funds. Council Bill number 15.2, a resolution approving a final change order with Miller Trucking and Excavating for project number 1376, US Route 6 Water Main Crossing in the amount of $6,780.70. Council Bill number 15.3, a resolution approving a request for a streetlight at 28th Avenue between 4129 and 4135 28th Avenue. Council Bill number 15.4, a resolution authorizing the Director of Engineering to purchase traffic signal mast arms from the Lighting Digest for 2023 Capital Improvement Project number 1370, 16th Street and Avenue of the City's intersection reconfiguration for the amount of $72,972.73. Council Bill number 15.5, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to an agreement with Hutchison Engineering for engineering design for motor fuel tax MFT section 23-00292-00-RP 34th Street reconstruction from 4th Avenue to University Drive. Council Bill number 15.6, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a contract with Centennial Contractors of the Quad Cities Incorporated for project number 1432, Floreciente Streetscaping Phase 3 in the amount of $75,000. Council Bill number 15.7, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute a licensing agreement with Three Bros Hospitality LLC, DBA Poor Bros Craft Tap Room, 1209 4th Avenue for the Dog Days of Summer Car Show scheduled for Saturday, June 10th, 2023. Council Bill number 15.8, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a second amendment to the amended lease agreement to extend the lease with Catfish Charlie's by 2 months for May and June of 2023 to honor paragraph 25.5 of the amended lease, which sets forth a force majeure
Major.
clause. No problem. Council Bill number 15.9, a resolution authorizing the Community and Economic Development Department to apply to the Illinois Housing Development Authority, IHDA, for the Strong Communities Program, SCP, Round 2 grant in the amount of $556,160 for the city, and authorizing staff to do any and all things necessary to apply for the Strong Communities Program, SCP, Round 2 grant.
Your Honor, I move for the approval of consent agenda.
Is there a second?
Second.
All right. Motion by Alderperson O'Brien, seconded by Alderperson Macias. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Castro?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, and that motion carries. Non-consent agenda resolutions. Council Bill number 17.1, a resolution authorizing the Fleet and Facilities Manager to purchase a commercial remote control mower for the amount of $64,912.50, utilizing HGAC by contract number Q05428-1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson Schmidt, seconded by Timian. Mr. Vitas, discussion?
Sure, if you're not familiar with this, we of course live in a community with significant hills, valleys, which make it very, very difficult for the city to maintain. We have maintenance agreements, for example, with the Illinois Department of Transportation to maintain all of the slopes along I-74 between Avenue of the Cities and the new hardscape that was created. What this is it's a remote control mower, meaning that we would no longer have someone sitting on a mower at risk on the slopes, cutting those. This also reduces the amount of time it takes to cut those and service those areas. If you had a chance to look at the video, if you did, you'll note that there was an Aussie who actually did the presentation. This will not only save time, save money, but reduce risk, and recommending approval.
Thank you. I did have one comment. As I was reading through, I started thinking, also because I went to a conference and started thinking, have we thought enough about our environmental impact with our fleet? I know we have moved many things to natural gas. I think we have some electric.
Yes, we have electric as well as CNG.
And so when I read the time it takes to actually get the job done is decreasing, then for me that was helpful, regardless of whether it was an EV or a diesel or regular gas like the rest of our lawn mowers at our houses, right?
Yep.
Then I thought, okay, well, less time means less carbon emission, et
This is
cetera.
true.
So I'm okay with it. Just wanted to point that out, Mr. Schmidt.
I just wanted to appreciate the way the staff was able to move forward in finding a place where we were able to pull back while we were finding those new needs and really making choices that are going to help us be fiscally responsible going forward. So just really appreciative of that, as is our former alderman, Mr. Waldron, who's helped instill that love in me. But I just really do appreciate that we approached it from that way, and so that we're not just adding cost on cost. We're finding places where we're cutting as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Mr. Macias.
I agree. I echo the same sentiment, and I actually would love to see it in action. It looks really cool, and yeah, I at some
Like
point.
get Tori to follow along and do a video.
Well, we'll get Stacy Light to put up the drone, take a picture, and then, because I've insisted on seeing the demonstration the day that we receive it. I mean, I watched the video, and it really is amazing. Living here, owning a house with a big slope, and using a John Deere riding mower or tractor on it, it's not a comfortable thing to go downhill or uphill or sideways. So this definitely will help reduce the risk to our employees, which, first and foremost is our priority. So it's a good deal, and you are correct. We are reducing one other piece of equipment to buy this instead.
Thank you. All right, hearing nothing further, roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias?
Aye.
Razak?
Aye.
Timian?
Aye.
Finch?
Aye.
O'Brien?
Aye.
Castro?
Aye.
Schmidt?
Aye.
Murphy?
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays, and that motion carries. Item 17.2, a resolution authorizing a variance to Chapter 34, Water and Sewers,
Section 3300, when required of the Moline Code of Ordinances to grant a variance to Section 34, water and sewers, Section 2101, application for water service connections of the Moline Code of Ordinances, waiving the requirement at this time that 3740 31st Street be required to extend a public water main across the frontage of said property, granting the petitioner/property owner permission to make a service line connection to the public main on 38th Avenue until such time as the water main is extended by others across this frontage, and as a condition of approval, requiring the petitioner/property owner and successors and assigns to agree to voluntarily connect to said water main at such time as the water main is so extended to serve said property, and to pay at that time the equitable share of such public main extension attributable to said property, and to record these obligations against the property.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alderperson O'Brien, seconded by Schmidt. Discussion.
Any explanation?
Any explanation needed? We got enough from our materials. Hearing no further discussion, roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. That motion carries. Council Bill number 17.3, a resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to execute and attest to a pre-annexation agreement with SEMA Antony and successors and assigns pursuant to a request for a water service connection at 3740 31st Street, which is outside the city corporate limits and presently ineligible for annexation.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Schmidt, seconded by Timian. Discussion. Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. That motion carries.
Hang on. Just a reminder explanation. I did send this out this afternoon, but you might not have seen it. For this particular section, non-consent agenda, first reading ordinances, while I respect our past practices, I think it is a better practice, and I've discussed this with legal counsel, clerks, and city administrators, to allow and encourage discussion during first readings so that we are transparent with the public and they don't wait to find out, 2 meetings later what we amended and had for consideration. It's also respectful of our colleagues who may need time to think about any amendments that were made so that they are comfortable with the vote that they're taking that night. So that is why you see under suggested action, advance to second reading. That's what the motion you'll be making is. I move to advance to second reading. Does that make sense to everyone? Okay, so we'll do that for every item in order to facilitate this. Now you may proceed.
All right, first reading ordinances. Council Bill number 18.1, ordinance amending Chapter 22, offenses miscellaneous of the Moline Code of Ordinances by repealing Chapter 22 in its entirety and acting in lieu thereof of one new Chapter 22 dealing with the same subject matter.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion by Alderperson O'Brien, seconded by Timian. Any discussion? Mr. Schmidt.
Yeah, sorry, give me just 1 second to make sure I'm in the right
Place, yeah.
place. Yes. I had a question previously regarding swimming in rivers in section B and just trying to understand that language. I was just wondering if we had that answer this evening.
Well, we have John Fox.
Please come to the podium, Mr. Fox.
Thank you. That was one of the sections I will readily acknowledge or admit I almost took out. What that is, the city of Moline, like it can with, I'll use the mall as an example, can contract with the mall to enforce traffic offenses on private property. Property owners whose property abuts the Rock or Mississippi River can similarly contract with the city to enforce the no swimming ordinance on their private property. That's an example, Council Member Schmidt, of one I almost took out because it's moved, but it really isn't. there still could be those contracts out there that individual private property owners have with the city that allow the city to enforce that no swimming in the Rock or Mississippi River. I've been prosecuting these matters for 4 years for the city of Moline, and the next one of those I see will be the first one. So, but that's what that is.
I appreciate the explanation. It was unclear prior what it was meant, but now with that explanation, I wonder if it doesn't require more clarity though, in just understanding of how it would be applied. Because I don't think I don't think all the information is there to be clear in ordinance itself.
I would suggest that I believe it's section 22-1108.
Correct.
That we could strike a portion of that to just take out, because again, I'm not aware and haven't found that any of these recorded contracts with the city exist. So I would suggest that we could eliminate that provision or reduce it or take it out entirely. But I could rework that very easily to perhaps be easier to read and
yeah, or simply just a statement of the city, like stating what it's for. The city may enter into contracts for the enforcement of no swimming on private property as a introductory sentence there, and then the rest of it does make sense.
And we could do that.
Sure. Because it doesn't say what it applies to, I guess.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
So does he need to make an official amendment
Yes,
with that language?
he should make a motion to amend.
Yep.
May I make a motion asking staff to come up with that amendment? Right? I don't.
Yes.
I don't need to write the
you could
language there.
Move to amend, section, I'm sorry.
22-1108.
Section B, yeah.
Section B.
To
state what
Yeah.
it is for, is what I directly quoted from you.
to provide explanation of the provision.
I would make a motion to amend section 22-1108B to add an introductory sentence explaining what those contracts are to enforce.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, motion by Schmidt, second by Timian. Discussion on this amendment. Okay, hearing none. Roll call, because we're in regular council. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Thank you. Anything further on this before a motion to advance to second reading? Hearing none, is there a motion? Wait, we have the motion on the floor. Yes, and it was seconded.
1 second.
Okay.
I just want to point out, I think there was just a couple other questions that, that we addressed, so just for transparency's sake. So the questions, the notes that I took from the council the last time we presented this, we had a scrivener's error on the offenses on school grounds, so that was added back in there, which is 22-1105, so that's in there. And then I forgot to ask you this before, but did we come up with the answer about the liquor commissioner question from Alderman Timian? You had asked about
It said mayor and it should be liquor commissioner.
Yeah.
right. Although I think you were referring to the tobacco section. I think that was some of the because
There
there's
was
no
the
liquor
tobacco
commission.
section.
There's no liquor commissioner in this section.
You're right.
Okay, so just want to clarify those for you. Those were the 3 questions that I took away from the last time.
Yes, thank you. All right, hearing nothing further, roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. That motion carries. All right. Council Bill number 18.2, an ordinance amending Chapter 26, Police of the Moline Code of Ordinances by repealing Chapter 26 in its entirety and acting in lieu thereof one new Chapter 6 dealing with the same subject matter.
Just to correct you, one new chapter, 26.
26.
Yeah.
Motion to advance.
Second.
Okay, motion by Schmidt, seconded by Macias. Discussion? Hearing nothing, roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Council Bill number 18.3, an ordinance approving the tax increment redevelopment plan and project for the Eastgate TIF redevelopment project area.
Move to approve.
Second?
Just to be clear, it's moved to advance to second reading, right?
Move to advance to second reading.
Thank you so much.
Second, Your Honor.
All right, that's O'Brien and seconded by Timian. Discussion?
You want anything? I think Adam Stroud is still online.
Yes.
Is he?
No, I think,
No?
Needed to.
Okay.
as long as staff is able to follow up with anyone that has questions further, I
Can I
think.
ask you a question?
You want to ask me a question?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll ask the council a question. I mean, obviously, it's been a while since we've done a TIF, and obviously, we've never done a TIF down in that part of the community. And we did carve out basically all the residential, I mean, as much as we possibly could, for all the given reasons at the time we presented you with the redevelopment plan. I mean, if it's the wish of council that we have an informational meeting, I have no issue with that. And I'm sure, Alderman O'Brien would be present, with his constituents, and I would have staff there and whoever.
I
If
think-
that's something that you think would be helpful so that
Thumbs
they
up.
understand better what we're doing, because it is a complex law, and there's a lot of parts of it I think we could address almost all their concerns and allay their fears.
Yeah,
That's
and-
really important.
And there's 2 weeks' time to
In
do
between.
something quickly there, so,
Just schedule a quick meeting one evening.
yep. So
If that's okay, I'll be more than happy to do that.
I think that's wonderful.
Okay.
Also, just to keep in mind that the discussion, broadly speaking about TIFs is very complex. And if cities were to just continue to open up new TIF after new TIF after new TIF, that would become a very big problem. And so you may have read some comments from Mr. Vitas, but there is continual thought on the part of staff to how can we scale back in other areas that aren't producing, right? So that we balance out what we're asking from the other taxing bodies to help spur development. Just wanted to make that clear, yes.
I just wanted to share that I have been communicating with members of the school board as well, which is the taxing body that will be most impacted by the choice to begin a TIF. And I found them to generally be supportive and pleased with the way the city's been cooperating with the leadership of the school district. I just think it's important to know that as we go to TIFs, as Mayor mentioned, there could be problems in that. One of the most significant is the way it would impact our school district. But this is a zone that definitely is in need. And the school board knows that too, and they want to see this development long term as we work as good partners. So I appreciate our staff being good partners already, and hope we continue on that path.
Okay, if there's nothing further, the roll call.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. Council Bill number 18.4, an ordinance designating the Eastgate TIF redevelopment project area.
Move to advance to second reading.
Second.
All right, that's O'Brien and Schmidt. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays. That motion carries. And, oops. Sorry. Council Bill number 18.5, an ordinance adopting tax increment financing for the Eastgate TIF redevelopment project area.
Move to advance to second reading.
Second?
All right. Motion by O'Brien, seconded by Timian. Discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
8 ayes, no nays.
Thank you. So we're to miscellaneous business, and that brings me to why I called for a special meeting for next Monday. I think you all saw my email. Again, I apologize for asking for 2 nights in a row, especially when a few weeks later we have public hearings we need to be at, as much as we can. But I do have a lot of information that we need to discuss together that's related to our strategic planning and really pulling some things together so that we're not sort of shooting arrows in lots of different directions, even as we have 3 major pillars of our plan. It will be helpful, and I thank staff who's already helped organize some of the thoughts that I need to share with you all and that they need to share with you all. So I don't anticipate it being a 3-hour meeting like our strategic planning was, but for sure an hour and a chance for everyone to ask questions together, following OMA rules and all of that. I do also want to thank staff and our partners at Mercado on 5th for working together to make sure that that's a successful event. Our staff pitched in, the city pitched in, paid for overtime workers, made sure things were safe on the first weekend and the second weekend, and they continue to work together with after action reports and trying to find ways to make sure that it's everything we hope it can be. And I did also write to staff today to ask that pre-planning begin for the Dia de los Muertos parade that I know they're anticipating. I do not want to be caught at the end of the summer scrambling to put plans together for something that I think is going to be huge. Whether we try to make it huge or not, I think it just will be because of the interest in it and what we saw last year. I also suggested that we have a float for the city that our staff can participate in making. Maybe we get to participate in making, and et cetera. But
Yeah, that one
these
threw
are-
me for a loop, I'm going to be honest.
No, we talked about it last year at the parade. Some of
We'd
us,
have
I
to have
think.
a lot of
but-
volunteers.
Okay.
I'm not good at making those flowers.
Well, in any case, something that potentially needs to be discussed. So that's all I have at the moment. I do really want to thank any of you alderpersons that have been filling in for me as Mayor Pro Tem at multiple events. I know you'll share what you've been at, but it's been really, really helpful. I appreciate that teamwork. And I hope it gives you a chance to see the kind of things that I'm involved in and the people that I get to talk to in my position when you do get to fill in. So just if you didn't know, we follow a schedule and that we adopted 2 years ago for who's Mayor Pro Tem which month. But then if that person's not available, I just start to go around the circle in my mind. Or like today with an announcement at Blackhawk, because Anna has a background in working in higher ed, I asked her to go because Mayor Pro Tem couldn't go. That is all I have, Ms. Murphy. Do you have anything for miscellaneous?
No, I don't.
Okay, Mr. Macias?
Thank you, Your Honor. I just want to give props to our staff. I had a call from a resident that her alley was just full of potholes, but this wasn't just a complaint about potholes. Her son has a wheelchair, and he has a hard time. That's how they get in and out, or he gets in and out of the house. And there was also talks that there was going to be ramps set up on the sidewalks. And so they reached out to me. I reached out to David, Graham, and Barry about, when they anticipate this kind of work to happen. I got word that it would happen this year. They didn't have a date. But in regards to the ramps, they actually, David managed to get it moved up in schedule. And I drove by Sunday and the ramps are in place, which was super fast. I was surprised. And then also with Graham, again, it's the resourcefulness of our staff that I compliment and I appreciate. There was a big job putting hot asphalt nearby, and he managed to get the team over there, and it even surprised him how quickly they got from one day to the next. They had hot asphalt covering a lot of those potholes. So just, again, thank you for the staff for working together and figuring out how to help our residents. They were very happy to see that, and I honestly didn't know when that would be, but it all got taken care of within a matter of like a week. It was crazy fast. So thank you to the staff for being resourceful.
Thank you.
That's it.
Mr. Razak?
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Timian?
Thank you, Your Honor. I was the mayor for a day down at the and you can't take that away from me. At the ribbon cutting for the new dock at the Channel Cat, and we were all down there earlier. It is a great example of multiple government agencies working together to accomplish something that is thinking long-term. And this dock will withstand the flood. It raises up to 16 feet. Like it's, at the water level's up to 16 feet. It's pretty impressive. And overall, it was a great event, very well attended. We used government funds from the Fed, the state, the city's taking on maintenance. It's gonna be a great thing. And I realized when I was there, and I spoke about this, that the Channel Cat's one of those things that is unique to us in the Quad Cities, and it's part of who we are. It's the only operating water ferry in the region. And so it is an attraction, and we've been doing it for 17 years. So I'm really glad that we're able to lean into it and invest in it, and the city's a part of that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Finch? No, Your Honor. Mr. O'Brien?
Nothing other than I took one for the team and went to Dunkin' Donuts the other morning. All the cops were, oh, you guys are here, that's right. But no, it was good, looked like it was a good event, so that's it.
Thank you. Ms. Castro?
I have a couple of things. Like you mentioned today, I went to Blackhawk where Governor Pritzker was giving a press conference regarding an increase to the MAC grant. It was really a good press conference, and I think that what I got out of it is that they're really they're going to make it so that students can go through a community college pretty much debt-free, those qualifying students, and they're really intending it to have students stay in Moline, go to college in Moline, and then stay here afterwards. So I think that was really great. Also, I went to Washington School a couple of days ago, and the 5th graders at Washington School had a project with United Way where they made tree houses for community partners. And so the city was presented with a lovely tree house by Quentin and Jack in 5th grade at Washington School. And so I told them I would bring it back so that we can put it on a tree somewhere in City Hall. So there we go. And then I also did a...
Go ahead.
I was just saying, ribbon cutting at Hotworks Yoga also, which is pretty cool. So that was it.
Thank you so much.
Pass it on to you guys.
Okay, give it up.
Give it to Eric and he'll find the tree. Eric or Terry?
I have to analyze it.
Thank you very much. Mr. Schmidt?
Thank you, Your Honor. Just a couple things that are coming up. One is that on the 8th, that this Thursday, there is another listening session or work session for looking at skate park amenities. That's happening at the library on Thursday evening. I was able to attend the first one, had a lot of great community feedback, and talking about ways that we can make it a challenging park, a park that will be used and exciting for our resident skating community, as well as conversations about making sure it is safe and also accessible to all ages and all groups, making sure that kids can progress and learn. And I think that's an amenity we're working toward that will be really excellent. I was excited to see the work in the first one. So there'll be an excellent second session coming up. Also, just want to draw everyone's attention that in a few weeks we'll be hosting the Pride Party in downtown Moline, or we are not hosted, but it is being hosted here in Moline on the 17th of June. And I would just encourage anyone who has the opportunity to attend and show their support to do so. Love walking down through downtown and seeing our flags to help stand up for members of our community and make sure everyone knows that all are welcome here. Thank you.
Thank you. Staff?
Well, that was great. Thank you. Appreciate that. We got those flags up on time, didn't we, Mayor?
Yes.
I received more than one reminder, but they were up. First of all, I want to thank Jim Nelson for coming and for his continued interest in staying in Moline. I mean, we went around and around for a long time, and I think I'm grateful for the outcome. I think it'll be a really great continued partnership. And I want to give kudos to the finance department for their hard work related to the CAFR. They launch into this no sooner than do they adopt the budget. They continue to produce the budget no sooner they're in the audit. It's all happening simultaneously, and that staff is a crack team of experts over there, and yet they still manage to service customers as well, who come and go to make bill payments to the city all the time. So I want to take my hat off to the finance director and the finance staff over there for doing the outstanding job they do. That's not to say that the rest of the team doesn't do great work either. I'm just calling this out tonight because I think it needs to be said. 35 or 30 years of just always hitting it right, that doesn't happen. And to have, no really management comments or management complaints about internal controls or anything like that tells us that they are doing their job and are doing it right, and the residents should rest assured that their money is well protected, well taken care of. So again, kudos to you, and with that, I'll pass the gavel.
Okay. Nothing further from staff? Then we move to any further public comment? No? Then we have executive session.
Your Honor, I make a motion that the council convene an executive session for the purpose of discussion of collective negotiating matters, -5 IL CS 120/2C2, property acquisitions, -5 IL CS 120/2C5, and pending probable or imminent litigations, -5 IL CS 120/2C11.
Thank you. Seconded by Alderperson Schmidt. Roll call, please.
Alderperson Macias.
Aye.
Razak.
Aye.
Timian.
Aye.
Finch.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Castro.
Aye.
Schmidt.
Aye.
Murphy.
Aye.
Okay, we are moving to closed session. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here.